Hey, friends. So I am here doing Farm Talk Saturday. Ken still has obligations, so he is again not on this particular video, and I miss him greatly. But yesterday was a bit crazy. I thought that I was gonna have time to just kind of prepare before the talk. I knew what I needed to do, which was to go out and clean the chicken coop, which, is something that I want to do. I want to have that responsibility. I'm totally proud and honored to clean up the shit from my chickens. I am earning these eggs, these future eggs, because they're not laying yet. And I guess they'll maybe start laying in 3 to 6 months from now. It can be anywhere from a 6 month to a whole year, apparently. So anyway, it was busy. And I came in and I was super farmy. And that's great. That's what I'm doing here. That's what we are doing here, is that we are being super farmy. So today you might hear the chicks in the background. It is not raining in this moment, but it had been raining actually pretty hard. So I might be able to put them back outside again. I don't know if I'll do it while I'm going on here live, but I can show you though, this little setup. So I had some friends come over the other day, our neighbor friends, Brian and Phoebe. And hello. Brian and Phoebe come over and they see Shakti and the little one, Poe, running around. And, they're looking at Shakti, who doesn't walk very well. She kind of walks like we call them zopalotes here, but it's a vulture. Vultures kind of do this thing oops, the camera didn't like me doing that. But they kind of hobble jump, and they one wing is too long. It's super funny. To me, I love zopalotes for that. Anyway, so this little setup, I swear I just cleaned up their poop right before I got on this call, but chickens are amazing poop machines. So I have her barricaded in, and they're kind of not sunning, but they are lighting themselves with the warm red heat lamp. But I have them off of the wood. So Shakti, her legs kind of do the middle splits now. They go really wide. And, they were telling me, Brian and Phoebe, hey, it's slippery. I'm like, yeah, but she likes to walk around the house, and I don't mind cleaning up her shit. I basically half the day I had been walking around following them as they shit, kind of, and they're like, well, but it's not so much that. They're like, we understand that you're being as hygienic as possible about it. Hi, John. But they're like, you need to know that could be dangerous for them, because if she does do the middle splits, they're not supposed to do that. And physically, anatomically. And then they would get re-injured. I'm like, oh no, I cannot re-injure this chick that I've spent now a couple months on, rehabbing. And she's doing great. I mean, even though she walks like a vulture, and she can even run. If I bring out food for her, she is running to that food. It's not a chicken run where they're super fast sprinters. It's her kind of flappy, crazy, stumbly run, but she's running. I mean, that's incredible progress. But I'm like, oh no, I cannot re-injure this chick because she wants to walk around the house. I mean, this must be what human parents deal with. It's you can't let your kids do anything that they want, because sometimes they want to do things that might actually really hurt them. Apparently, when I was 2, I wanted to jump off of the Grand Canyon. Maybe you don't let the 2-year-old jump off the Grand Canyon because she wants to fly, like Shakti. Maybe I don't let her walk around on the slippery wooden floors because she might do the middle splits, and then I have to take care of her for even more months inside of the house. So anyway, so yesterday that was kind of what I was dealing with was chickens, and that is kind of what I have been dealing with lately. But I forgot to talk about like other fun things, like we have new coconuts coming in. Our star coconut tree got a rhino beetle in it. I think we did an episode, Ken and I, with this, and it died. It was so sad. And I had talks with this tree, just letting it know how much I had loved it and that it would be missed. And we had to cut it down to a stump, which is now producing these really amazing assortment of mushrooms. I'm not sure if they're edible or not. I would have to take a picture and send it to different groups that we have here in Costa Rica. I'm just happy to see them. I'm not necessarily interested in being super experimental about these fun guys right now. But yeah, so we have new coconuts. The coconut tree that was like right next to it. So like we have a little path, and the star coconut tree was doing really good. Like if I was facing it, like it was on the right, and the one on the left was like, not growing as fast and never produced a coconut until the other one died. So I don't know if there is something to that. Maybe the other one was pulling resources away from the other one, but whatever. Like now the other one's going, and that's super exciting. They're not quite big enough to drink them yet or eat the meat, but they're coming. I think probably within another week or two, Ken and I are going to be like loaded on coconuts again. That's super exciting. And one day we're probably going to have like coconut farm. We have so many dwarf coconut palms that we planted thanks to our friends, Rick and Rosie. So they were the ones that I guess like, coconuts, they just kind of sprout out of the coconut. So if you don't eat it or do anything with it, like a tree will come out of it. They're seeds. And so they had a bunch of them, and they just like gave us like 20. So that will be exciting when that happens. But anyway, so part of what I wanted to talk about yesterday was permaculture pinup, just because, Ken's not here, so I can be girly. And, the inspiration of like where that came from. Yeah, Jim is saying coconuts are good, but watch that they don't fall on your head. I know a lot of people actually die from coconuts falling on their head. And I think Jim's saying that because he lives in Thailand. And so he would know, as other people that live in tropical places know, that you have to be careful, kind of like hippos. If you played that game, Hungry Hungry Hippos, you might just think that they were cute, but apparently hippos kill a lot of people every year, like coconuts. These trees, just to get back to you, Jim, these ones are dwarf coconuts, so they're not going to be super tall. They might get up to 10, maybe 15 feet, but they're not like super, super tall. So it'd be easier to see them, gravity. I just think we could dodge them. So thank you for your concern, and I will obviously keep that in mind. I was keeping that in mind actually when I went and did this beach clean the other day. I had driven past this one patch of beach. I was just loaded with trash, like plastic bottles. I don't know where they were coming from. There's different theories, it's like, are the cruise ships dumping? That's a common practice. Is it coming from the rivers? There are, people that, can't afford a house, might live on rivers in the cities, and they, where are they going to put their trash? They might send it down. Maybe it's a current that has been going around, and then it just delivers chunks of trash. Anyways, there was a ton of it, and I couldn't not deal with that on some level. It's like, I believe if something's kind of in my path, it's my responsibility to do something about it. So, karmic warrior, karmic yogi stuff. It's like our ability to respond or have responsibility for something is endless, So it's, Maybe we can't always handle it in that moment, but that's a whole nother topic. Anyways, I knew that I could pick a day. I don't need an organized beach clean. I don't need to organize one. I have. And I don't need to wait for somebody else. I'm like, I just need 2 bags and I'm going to go out and get it. And preferably, I would have liked to have sourced non-plastic trash bags, but I knew I wasn't going to be able to do that in time. But I just felt like it was going to be better than not. I had to take care of it. So I went out and did that. And I'm getting back to the coconuts here. I had to pass through some really tall coconut trees on that beach. And I was basically praying, like just talking to the trees, like, please, please, I'm just doing something good here. Don't fall on my head right now. So anyway, that's that about coconuts. But permaculture pinup, I wanted to kind of talk about the inspiration behind that and also just mention that our newest model, Shanri, she has her interview article out now. So I just wrote that and we let that drop, I don't know, a few days ago, a week ago. Time goes by so quickly. Shanri is amazing. She lives in an urban environment. She's not necessarily like currently gardening or doesn't currently have land that she's, doing, permaculture land work on. But she adds this really important element to permaculture that I think so many of us need. And it's she has a book that is coming out on it. It's called Sensual Intelligence. She calls it The Lost IQ. And, it's like, for me, I'm like, hey, I get this. Like, I'm a tantrika, like, part of our practices are about like slowing down and paying attention to, feelings and sensations. And there is an aspect of pleasure, but it's more about being curious about your senses. And when you slow down, like you're you can open up and expand, and you start to see things. Otherwise, like sometimes we're going through life and it's almost like we've taken a picture and it becomes static and we're not really seeing the dynamism of what's really happening around us. If you slow down, you might actually recognize that a flower that you've had, this just happened to me the other day. We have these really beautiful kind of like marigold flowers, and I've seen these little butterflies before that are super beautiful blue, a little bit more teal than the giant morphos that are super iconic here. These ones are smaller, but like a really beautiful kind of like iridescent, but deep iridescent teal. And I'm like, hey, is this your flower? I had not, noticed that before, but I had some time to stare at my marigolds and, and that was just kind of like an intuitive hypothesis at the time. But today I walked by some other marigolds on a different part of the property, and there it was again, that particular butterfly. I'm like, okay. Kind of in the same way, like we have a plant here called chipaline. Can you guys even hear me? Like the chicks are so loud right now. I think they know it stopped raining and they're like, get me out of here. Anyway, the chipaline, they make tamales out of it in El Salvador. I would love to see that process actually, just because, it's quite, the leaves are very small. So to process that, like to harvest it, it must be like a whole day thing that they're doing. But it's supposed to be really nutritious. But anyways, the chipaline has a particular like bumblebee that might visit other plants too, but I've only seen this bumblebee on that plant. And it's black. Bumblebees are big, and instead of having stripes, it's just all black. And it's like those are the things that you get to see if you slow down. And so again, going back to Sean Rhee's book and sensual intelligence, sometimes people think sensual and they think sexual, but it doesn't have to lead to a sexual thing. It's just sensual, like senses, like I'm touching myself. That's using my senses, smelling, like pausing so that you can, smell something. Like tamales, Jim. Just really allowing, going outside and feeling the elements. These are all things that can reconnect us with the earth. And I feel that that is something that is lacking right now. I mean, I know people go outside and those people have a better chance at being reconnected, but people that are living in cities and stuff, I keep trying to say, like, get outside, go outside, go hang out with a tree, go slow down, go notice nature, because to me that's the only reality. But anyways, Sean Rhee's interviews up. She's an amazing permaculture pinup model. I was really excited that we got to feature her, and she has gardened before, so it's not like we were just picking her because she had a cool topic. It's like she actually does wild foraging in Oakland, and so it talks about that a little bit. But she's done like gardening, urban gardening with friends and roommates and stuff in the past too. So she loves compost. But yeah, I feel like Sean Rhee kind of encapsulates like the inspiration that I had for the permaculture pinup idea. So she's, her Instagram is now Sean Rhee Nato. I can spell that or put the link in, at the end of this video. But it had been Your Quirky Queen or just Quirky Queen before. And so she's beautiful, but she's very playful. And she is, kind of quirky and funny and silly. So she can be sexy, but she's not like so serious about it. It's like, hey, I'm embracing myself and I'm embracing life, and life is sensual and sometimes it's sexual and we should have pleasure around it. And she's just such a treat. So we're going to be sharing her content through like November on Instagram mostly, reposting and stuff, because it's just so good. And I think it's inspiring, and I think that it will be really helpful for people that are living in cities to kind of journey with her on that content. And then even though it might not seem like it directly applies to like permaculture, it's like permaculture means that we're living in harmony with our environment and the earth. And, it's like there's 3 ethical kind of like concepts, that we're taking care of the earth, that we're taking care of people, and that there's fair share. So we're like sharing in abundance, we're sharing knowledge. Those are like what's guiding like these other 12 principles behind like the permaculture paradigm, if you will. So, hello, Hannah. Anyway, Sean Rhee is just a treat, and I really recommend that you pay attention sometimes to the Permaculture Pinup Instagram, because we'll be sharing her a lot. But anyway, so she just does fun things. And, she'll be eating a piece of lettuce, like very, and she's just eating it, maybe she's not doing it in a sexual way, but it's playful and it's cute. And that's kind of what started coming to me when I started living here in Costa Rica full time and just being around nature so much more. I started looking at the trees, and they seem to have messages for me of like, hey, look, you could play with me. Like I would see in palm fronds, like burlesque fans, and, you know, and then obviously like coconuts and, but like big leaves, like the chica scale, which is different than the chipoline that I was talking about earlier, have, you know, it's like, those are fun too. I saw so many like really cute, burlesque elements. And so permaculture pinup just sounds better, but the idea came originally from more like kind of like a burlesque performance aspect. And hey, Jack, long time no see. So I think it was on my Leigh Janine Jordan Instagram. It's on there somewhere where I did like a little cute video with some leaves once. And then I kind of put the idea, not necessarily away, but I felt like I wanted a collaborator, or maybe it's just like I needed a motivator. So when Katie Bunny came, who is super playful and fun and beautiful, and I just you know, she was going to be here forever. We figured out after a few months of her being here, and she knew she was always going to be here forever anyways, just that like it got fast tracked due to 2020. I said, hey, I have this idea. You know, I showed her some of the inspiration. I'm like, the palm tree told me that we could use that as like a burlesque tale. And she's like, I get it. I see it. I'm like, I knew you would. Thank you. And so we decided that we would do it. And so I'm having so much fun with that. Jack, thank you. That's really sweet. I'm having so much fun with that. And part of the reason why I wanted to create media and content around that concept is, there's so much out there already of, you know, the 10 best things to be eco-friendly. And so that's great. And I could do that again myself, and I would have probably different things to say. But I just like, you know, I might as well like support someone else and elevate their ideas around that, and then do something that feels fun and creative to me. And I'm sure, Hannah, you understand that. Like you being, you know, like mermaid activism. That's just so fun and playful and beautiful, and such a great way to educate people, you know? You do know, I'm sure. So hi, Jane, nice to see you. So yeah, I'm here again. I just did not feel like I had fun on yesterday's Farm Talk Friday, and part of that is because Ken wasn't there, of course. But I also just felt flustered, and you know, I had taken care of the chickens, but instead of like half an hour to clean their home, their Mondrian hotel, it took an hour. And so I came in, I was super farmy, which was fine. But I just had a different energy, and I really had wanted to like sit down and be able to have a conversation. And because Ken wasn't here, like I didn't want to necessarily limit myself on the time. I wanted people to have time to tune in and maybe ask me questions. So I thought, I'm like, you know, if I can find the time on Saturday, then I'll just keep myself online a little bit longer and talk about some things that I didn't talk about. So yesterday I huffed some honey due to like the sensual intelligence, you know, like inspired by Shanri. I was just really craving something sweet after lunch, and I didn't have any chocolate, or I had like an apple, but I had already eaten one. I'm like, what can I eat that's sweet? I have such a sweet tooth. So I saw that we had bought some beautiful raw honey when we went to Nosara. And it's just like a little tiny, you know, I'm not vegan, so I eat honey. And I just decided that I would slow down, you know, because I was feeling, I totally huffed honey, Jim. It was fun. Instead of huffing glue, huffing honey. I highly recommend it. So I was smelling it, and it smelled medicinal. And that was fun. So I thank Shanri again for that. And that particular honey had some honeycomb in it. So I was, allowing myself to like really chew on it. And yeah, it was good. So I do have a little special treat for everyone that's tuning in. Something that I thought would be fun. And again, kind of like the original idea and inspiration behind Permaculture Pinup. But before I do that, if any of you that are on want to ask me something about the farm or about anything about Poway, I'm here. I have a little bit of time today. I definitely have things to do, but I wanted to make myself more available. So yeah, Jane, I totally love Shanri too. She's super great. She's up in the Bay. I know you guys aren't up there anymore, but her book is coming out, and she has an incredible deal on it right now. So if you pre-order it, it's so affordable. And then she sends you like an audio, which I haven't listened to yet, but I'm really looking forward to putting that on probably after I finish up here, and like treating myself. Because I think that's super important for permaculture as well, is, we're trying to create, like a sustainable life, where we're not stressed, that we're living in balance. And so we need to like treat ourselves well, and that could be like a whole nother live that I'll get into later. I do a workshop on self-love when I teach yoga retreats. So I know that I can fill the time on that. So I don't want to get off on too much of a tangent, but yeah, it's important. So I'm going to listen to her today, and that will be part of my treat to myself. And if we don't have any questions, then I think we'll just get on with it, huh? So earlier it was raining, and I thought it would be fun with some sound. So I don't have any sound for this. I'm gonna take you outside, and I'm going to end up putting the camera down for just a couple of minutes. She has Cindy on her website. I don't know who Cindy is, Jim. Maybe you can educate me about that. Anyways, I'm going to put the camera down, and it'll take me just maybe like 30 seconds at tops, like 1 minute, and then I'll do my little treat for you. So give me a moment. So this was kind of the idea that I first had with Permaculture Pinup. I just thought it would be so fun to show people how playful we can be with nature. So that's it. That was the special treat, but hopefully you guys get it now. Anyways, I love all of you so much. Thanks for tuning in today. And yeah, I'm like, go outside, go breathe, go be with nature, slow down. You could do a 5-minute meditation where you sit with anything. It could be a blade of grass or a big tree. And you just sit with it and you look at it. You're not looking for anything. You're just looking at your object of attention. And, the thoughts will come in. They will. It's just noise. I'm like, stay focused on what you're doing. And I promise that you will have some sort of revelation within like 5 minutes. It happens. to everybody if you actually do it. So, okay, love you too. Have a wonderful Saturday, everyone.